see it.
Hi guys, this is Carla, aka your fairy god Beshi. Okay, so for this video, I'll be showing you how to drape a circle skirt with a skirt, a circle skirt with a skirt, a circle skirt with a slit without utilizing a pattern. It is very possible, and you'll be surprised how easy it actually is. Like, I have a feeling after watching this video, you probably won't be making your circle skirts the same way you did. So let's get right to it. Let's go. Let's go. What are you doing? Let's go. Come on.
Alright, so first off, I like to start by placing style tapes where I want my front princess seam to sit, which is about a quarter away from the ones on the dress form. That way my princess seams on my skirt would match up perfectly to my bodice. Ooh, here's the fun part. Okay, so I like to start by holding the fabric from the corner like this and then pin it to the center front somewhere in between the bust. Oh, and you also don't really need to eyeball where the center front is too, by the way, because the mannequin actually has that seam already. I just got carried away and forgot to remove the top before I started draping. Oopsies. I then clip Bisaya. Sorry. I then clip the excess fabric up top to release some of the tension, because the goal here is to allow the fabric, especially along the waist, to smoothly lay on the dress form. Once I'm happy with it, I then go ahead and mark my waistline as well as my new princess seams. And since I already adjusted the mannequin to the length that I want, I just go ahead and cut it on the mannequin. But of course, if you're not confident cutting your piece this way, you're more than welcome to cut it flat on the floor by measuring it out from the waistline down to the length that you desire and using that waistline as your guide to shape the hem. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention, the fabric I'm using to drape is actually my actual lining fabric. I have literally made skirts like this countless times for work. Shout out to my old designer boss, because I've learned a lot of these tricks from him, and yes, hence the confidence. So please, if you're not ready to go straight to your actual fabric, feel free to use muslin or any kind of cheaper material with very similar weight as your lining. Now I'm ready to cut off all that excess fabric that we don't need and then leave 1/2 inch seam allowance along the waist and the princess lines. And I had to do this process very carefully because, as you can see, Ocean, aka my manager, is over here checking my work. Now that I'm done with the center front panel, I'm gonna go ahead and repeat the exact same steps to the side front panel, the side back panel, and the center back panel. After I finish making the right half side of my skirt lining, I pretty much just mirror the process to create the other half. Once I'm done with my skirt lining, I then go ahead and use these panels as my pattern to cut my self fabric. Starting with the lining, I start sewing the seam where the slit is. For mine, it measures about 9.5 inches from the waistline down to the tip of the slit. Then I move on and sew the rest of the seams from waist down to the hem, except for the center back, because we're gonna be installing an invisible zipper back there, which measures about 7 inches from the waist down. After repeating the same exact process to our self fabric, I then ended up with two separate skirts, one that's made out of the lining and another that's made out of the georgette. And because I want the inside of the skirt to be just as clean as the outside, I'm joining the pieces with the wrong sides together, starting with a slit. Once you're done joining the two skirts at the slit, it should look something like this. Now, to prevent the seams from fraying, also just for a clean finish, I go ahead and overlock the raw edges away. I then begin attaching the skirt to the bodice by first pinning the self skirt onto the self side of the bodice, right sides together, and then followed by the lining skirt, right sides together with the lining part of the bodice. It's as if we're sandwiching the bodice in between the two skirts. Oh, and since I totally forgot to show you guys my actual sewing process in the first video, let me present my secret to sewing beaded tops. Ta-da! It's my right hinge zipper foot. Just don't forget the part where you remove the beads off of the seam allowance and you should be good to go. And once you're done, it should look pretty neat inside that you can almost wear it inside out. And now I'm about ready to attach my 7-inch invisible zipper. And now on to my most dreadful part, hemming the skirts. So I'm going for a narrow rolled hem, and there's supposed to be a foot for it, but I don't have it, so I'm gonna try and do it manually. Yeah, I definitely didn't think it'll take me about 6 hours to do this, but again, it is what it is. How am I supposed to? Wow. So that just happened. Rest in peace to my 10-year-old ironing board. And obviously I still got a lot to iron, so I'm not about to give up right now. I can do this! Hey! See, we can do this! Woo! Last but not the least, I then hand sew my label onto the dress. This part always gets me excited. So I tried on the dress one more time just to double check the fit. Other than the fact that it's slightly big on me, which is totally fine because this is a sample size and not mine, I noticed something. So you see how along the darts, you see the little bald spots? Yes, so we're gonna have to do something about that. Since I saved all those beads and pearls that I removed from the seam allowance from the very first part of the first video, yep, hand sewing those mamas back on. Homegirl doesn't play. See the difference? Now you could barely even tell that there's a dart there. Holla! Okay, now we're for real done. Yay!